Hey guys, good morning. So for this video, I just wanted to go over some basic elements of just kind of extraction and composition using some of the images that I've taken, and then talk about what you could do afterwards to bring everything together if you were creating a surreal scene. So for me, I wanted to combine this idea of a house with a woman looking out at all this garbage, and I just wanted to make this massive amount of garbage in the space. So let's get started. So I'm going to just select these images that I wanted to start with, and I'm just going to drag them onto Photoshop, the icon on the dock. And what's going to happen is they should all open up individually as tabs. And what I can then do is create a new document, Command N, and I know that we're going to need a poster, right? So my poster is going to be vertical. I'm going to go in inches, and I know it's going to be, the width is going to be 11, and the height is going to be 17, and at 300 dpi since it's print. So we're going to start with that as our basic, our poster, and I'm going to go ahead and Command S to save it. It should bring up a dialog in a second, so save as, there we go. And I'm just going to call it trash poster. And now I'm going to go to my first image, and this is going to be like the top I was thinking of the image. I'm going to undock this just so I can see it, and I'm going to bring that layer into the poster so that it's available. And you can see it's a pretty large photograph. Let's get started by just creating, like removing the trees and everything by using my quick selection tool and just grabbing all this garbage by just dragging over it. I'm going to zoom in so you can see, trying to get all the garbage but none of the trees. So I'm holding the Option key down when I want to unselect something that gets accidentally selected. Now I'm gonna go pretty quickly in this video because I wanted you guys just to see like not only the finished product but like how we approach the design afterwards, bringing it together for our final thing. So this looks like I've got everything pretty well. I'm going to click the mask tool. You can kind of see that there are some issues here. So if I were to go into this properties panel and select and mask, based on what you've seen already, you can see that you can actually turn up the edge detection here by just bringing up the radius to maybe 8, and you'll see I'll try to figure out do a better job of like cutting this out. I'm going to do a little bit of a feathering and a little bit of a smoothing, so this should all like actually look a little bit better. I'm going to hit OK, and at this point I've got my selection and I've got my layer. I'm just going to move that like here, and I'm going to bring in my next image. This is going to be our sky. I really like the way that this kind of worked. So we'll just, again, I'm just move the tab out of the way and drag that layer in. You'll notice that if I'm doing that, I'm not actually getting that smart layer, which is something I really want. I'm going to call this sky, and I'm just going to go ahead and hide it. I don't need to see that or this layer at the moment. Okay, so I got my sky layer out of the way. I like this foreground element, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on for this. Again, just going to pull it out of the way, bring it into my document, and start using my quick select tool. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, so make sure that the document, using the move tool to get the document in the middle here. And then I'm going to use a quick select tool and paint what I want. Like I want this trash bag, but I don't want this ground area. I don't know why I picked that. Not too smart. There we go. I want this trash box maybe, want this stuff. And if I don't get what I need, I can always get it back using my tools later on. So I'm just trying to get, this will be, hopefully got all this part, but holding the Option key down to deselect the things that I don't want. That looks almost pretty good. Yep. And let's go ahead and mask it, see how bad it looks. Some roughness here. So again, select and mask. Bring up the radius for edge detection. See if it can do a better job. Kind of does, right? And smooth it to make it nice and smooth. A little bit of feather is always good. Hit OK, and there we go. And now we've got that. I'm just going to hide that, move to the next one. Let's hold off on that one. I would like this person, so again, tab it down. And obviously these are all taken in different conditions. So now I've got this person, And I'm just going to use my quick select again on this, wrong layer. Put it in the wrong poster layer. Let's just go ahead and see if I can find her. There she is. And then I just need to get back to my poster. So there's the layer. That's something that happens, it goes behind. Okay, now it is in the poster layer, and quick selecting again. I'm going to do a better job around her face because that's kind of important. And this is where the select radius really helps, because this hair will be more easily selected using the AI selection in the smart selection area. So once I've got pretty good selection, which I think I do, right? Now I'll go to the properties panel, scroll down, so make sure I do the masking, and then go ahead and select and mask, and then bring up the radius so that I can see this hair kind of come in a little bit better. You can also draw in using the tools on the left here. So for instance, I'm going to use my bracket key to expand this, and I can actually draw this radius in to make it a little bit bigger, and then holding the option key I can draw away as well. And what that's doing is, if you show the overlay here, you can see where the radius is actually making some determinations, right? I'm going to select show edge here, and that means that if I'm drawing, I'm actually drawing in an area that it should be looking more. I'm telling it, hey, here is where a lot of things are happening, so please take a look here and make a better choice than what you've made already. I'm going to turn this off so I can see. And again, option is always the opposite. So if you're drawing, option's taking away, and then plus is adding. Just leaving it the way it is adding. And that looks pretty good, right? I'm going to hit OK. Not bad. And I'm turn that off. And then finally, the last image is the image of the house. Maybe not the last image, but we'll find out. And then I'll bring that in, zoom out. And I really want this house that I took it in Granville. Again, quick select. Should be a good, easy selection here, right? And just pick that up. The Old West look. I kind of like this image in general for whatever reason. And again, I'll just for fun, after I make the mask, go to select and mask, and just make sure that I've gotten everything. I don't know why I missed this window completely, so I'll just draw it in here with my painting tool. There, that looks good. Bring up the radius a little bit. That made it even better, except for maybe down here, but that's going to be okay. And I'm going to hit OK, and that's it. So now I've got all these like little components. Now it's just time to start working them in. So if I Command T to transform this layer, make it a little smaller, put it on top, just hit return, start there. I know that this is the, let's see, I've got my sky layer. Let's go ahead and put that way at the top of our stack, or way at the bottom actually, because it's going to be the background. And let's go ahead and Command T to transform it, make it bigger. I'm holding the option key so that it transforms from the center while I'm doing this, and hit return, and just bring that, deselect, move tool V for move, and just bring it down. There we go. And let's see, we've got this garbage pile. Let's go ahead and move this down a little bit. Right. Let's make it smaller so it kind of fits in with our theme here. It's kind of there. Let's see what other garbage we have. Now this will be our foreground garbage, so I'm going to select that layer. Command T to make it smaller as well, and but not too small. And just put that down here so that it we can see the pile kind of starting here. And what I'm going to do is flip this to the other side, because you can see there's like a mirroring that's happening here. So what I'm going to do is, I do like that, but I'm going to just hit return. But I'm going to go to edit, transform, flip across the horizon, and that should flip it to the other side. So now you won't notice that, these two sides are almost identical. Let's see, there should be one more. So I've got this woman. Let's see what's going on here. That's good. Got the sky. Did I get any more garbage? I want one more garbage pile. Let's go ahead and get to my garbage here. Got that one. I think there's one more garbage I would like to get. Maybe it is on my, it's this garbage right here. So let's go ahead and just drag that to Photoshop. I'm going to select all, copy, and this time I'm going to paste into this area, Command V, and then I'll just do my quick selection again for the garbage. This is pretty straightforward. You can figure out where the garbage is. There we go. I'll mask that. Do a little bit of select and mask, radius, smooth, just because it's fast. And now I can transform that, bring it down. Bring it over here. And that looks pretty good. And what I'm going to do to hide this area here is I'm just going to duplicate this original one on the left, jump it, Command J, and then just put it underneath everything between the sky, and then that'll kind of like fill in this space over here so that you can kind of see there's nothing there. And there we go. So we've got some stuff going on here. Bring this house by control clicking, bringing it down. I'm not liking, this is kind of, yeah, that kind of works, I actually think. Let's see, yeah. So how is this woman going to be in the frame? Well, let's select her layer and move her here. And she's just like off to the frame there. And then finally, let's get a little tiny bit of garbage. I'm going to just select some garbage that I've already selected and just make it really small. Jump it, bring it up to the top, and just transform it, Command T, and make it much, much smaller because this will be right in the front. Let's go ahead and see if I could just rotate it a little bit. Hit return. That looks good. Maybe a little smaller because we kind of want to put it right in front there. And then what I'll do is I will use the quick select tool again, but this time just to get some randomization of this garbage here, so that when I go to the mask, I can hit the delete key and make sure that the background is black. I'm going to hit the background and then hit the delete key, and you can kind of see that that deletes away the mask so that some of that gets hidden. And if you see if I'm just seeing that part, it's kind of like it's starting to look pretty normal. Some of the things that I would like is maybe a little bit of this garbage to form some kind of shadow, drop shadow. So I'm going to select this layer right here and go to the effects and go to drop shadow. And I'm going to show you that you can actually put a drop shadow in. Now the direction is going to be going the opposite way. It's going to go up. You can kind of see that. I'm going to go, you can see the distance I can go here, right? And the darkness, the opacity. There we go. And that should do it. And so you can kind of see that this drop shadow is now creating something. I'm actually not liking that because it's not affecting only the house. It's affecting other stuff as well. Let me see if the house, if I can just make a clipping mask by Command J. I'm jumping that drop shadow. Let me undo some of that stuff. Let's get rid of that drop shadow. And let's do this a different way. I know that this is the layer that I want to make a shadow with. I'm going to jump that layer, and now I'm going to go to the image adjustments levels and just make the levels for this garbage layer 100% dark, so that this garbage becomes 100% dark like that. Now I've just made a little black garbage thing, and I can do the filter blur, Gaussian blur, and actually blur that layer completely. Just blow it out, right? Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to cancel for a second because right now I've got a mask. I'm going to take this mask and throw it in the trash, but apply it. That makes this now a big just piece of black stuff that's almost a perfect shape. And now I'm going to go ahead and go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and just bring up that radius. You can kind of see it starts to blur. And I'm going to use this as a darken layer, and then I'm going to move it up a little bit and behind the garbage. And now you can kind of see I've got this exact shape of the garbage. I'm going to change the opacity a little bit so it's a little less obvious. And then I'm just going to erase with the letter E for the eraser tool on just the stuff that's outside of there. So now it looks like the garbage is kind of like, creating this shadow right around, or maybe some type of thing going on. Now there's a lot of stuff that's happening down here. I'm not sure if I really need, just looking at the composition, I need the figure. I'm trying to figure out like where she is. Here she is. Nope. It would be good to label woman. And so you can kind of see what's going on here with this composition. And I kind of like the composition just by itself as an idea. I'm going to need a little more garbage, so I'm going to jump this layer, move it down, bring it, oh, that's not the right layer. Do that. So I'm going to need this garbage layer, jump it, move it down behind everything, way at the bottom, but above the sky, and then I'm just going to move it so that it's, oh great, I grabbed the wrong one. Let's see, that's not the garbage, that's the big garbage, that's this garbage, that's that garbage. Oh, that's the garbage I want to jump, and then move it down to the bottom of the stack above the sky, and just move it so that it gives me some garbage over here that I can just transform, rotate until it looks like, there we go, some garbage that's just been sitting back there, because it all kind of piles up. All right, so this is my composition, and you can kind of see it needs to be brought together. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to hit I'm going to create, let's see, a layer that has a color in it, maybe a little bit of yellow because of the horrible yellow nature of the world at this point. I'm going to use the gradient tool, fill tool here, right? And I'm going to just fill it with that yellow, and I'm going to change the blend mode to multiply. You can kind of see that gives me a filter, a really nice brings it all together filter. I want this sky to kind of be even further back. So one thing I could do is I'm going to take the sky and jump it so I don't mess up the original copy. But now I'm going to go to filter, blur, and I'm going to use lens blur, which is a beautiful blur. It takes a long time to do. And I'm just going to put the radius up to like 34, maybe even more. Hit OK. And what that'll do is that'll blur that entire layer using an effect. And you can see this is before and after. It kind of really separates the foreground with the background, so making this look a little tilt shifty, but also like we've taken the background and from far away. And then finally, let's see, I would add graphic elements at this point. Maybe I would add in some element above here with the idea of, the birds that are flying. I've got a bird photograph that I could use. I can totally see, incorporating that with the idea, maybe instead of with the, let's see, I've got some photographs here. Here's a bird by my birdFeeder, which is always good to have. Maybe one that is flying would be great, right? Let's see. Of course, it'd be nice if it was actually physically flying or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, maybe not. Oh, here are some birds. Let's see. Kind of like what's going on with this bird. I can see using this. Let me see what it will look like if I bring in the Photoshop. Select all, copy, close, paste, and bring it to the top of the stack because, I can't see it in the middle. And if I were to just select this stuff, and the reason I'm selecting the white, because I know if it's easier to select, and I can just hit the delete or make the mask for that bird. And even though it's the opposite, invert, Command I, and now I've got that, and I can just get rid of this, deselect. And now I've got this bird kind of sitting here. I would love to make it look a little bit better. So let's select that mask and go to selected mask and just pull up the radius, see if we can get rid of that line as well, because I kind of added that in. And I'll just increase the feather. And what I'm going to do is shift the edge in, bring it in towards the bird so that it gets rid of more of these issues, and then hit OK. That's pretty good. And now I'm going to just put the bird right here, and I notice I've got some stuff here, so I'm going to go to my mask and use the draw tool, and I'm going to draw with black, and that will get rid of all this stuff, as we know, because I can kind of see this line that I didn't intend to have. And I'm even going to make this smaller and get rid of this white stuff right here, because that's not necessary. Get rid of any of the fringing if I can. This way it looks more authentic and real. And this is kind of how I would approach making just some surreal object here. Now let's see, we want this to look like it's part, holding the shift key down when you're drawing, when you're using the brush tool, will cause it to create this straight line. So I'm holding the shift key down, and you can kind of see now I'm creating this line instead of freehanding. So if you want to get a nice sharp line out of something, and you can kind of see I'm going around with the fringing, because I really don't like that fringing, and you can get rid of it this way, or you could do a little bit better job of using that radius tool to get rid of that, like shifting the edge in. But you can also go around like this. Remember, this will be visible, right? And I would love this part to be something that's, you know, not visible. So I'd go around and fix that. Obviously the bird being in front of the thing. Let's see. I think this would look better, but I can change my mind afterwards. Again, using that shift key thing to get that perfect straight line. And that's how that would work. Again, remove the fringing and that kind of thing. And that is how it could be. And that's it. So if we had that, I left a good amount of space for some text above. You could add overall contrast to this, again, using the brightness contrast to like increase the amount of contrast for the whole piece. So this could make it a little bit more contrasty, a little brighter. Maybe it's a little too yellow, so maybe I'll just drag the opacity for that yellow layer down, and you can kind of see that brightens it up, makes it a little less smoky. Bringing it all together and then adding a texture maybe on top of it might overcomplicate it. You really want to see the garbage, right? And I can imagine doing much more garbage, maybe going even higher to a point where, you know, the bird is way at the top and there's just a ton of garbage, just the idea of garbage in the world. Hope this helped a little bit to see how you can take multiple pictures and create a composition using Photoshop.